Hey everyone, welcome back to the Spring Boot series. In the last video, we discussed 3-layer structure and implemented service layer. Today's goal is super important. We will talking about repository layer in Spring Boot and using data JPA, and we will connect our app to MySQL database and perform some CRUD operations. Okay, so first of all, let me tell you what is repository layer. In previous video, we have seen what is repository layer and why it is used. Repository layer is where our application talks to the database. It acts as data access layer. With Spring Boot Data JPA, we don't need to write SQL manually for basic queries. So in Java EE, we need to write separate queries, MySQL queries for creating or deleting or inserting data with the MySQL or any kind of databases. With the Spring Data JPA, we don't need to write these separate queries. Spring Data JPA do it everything automatically. JPA stands for Java Persistent API, helps map Java objects to database tables. Okay, so we'll see one example. Think of your app as a restaurant. Model is the food order. Okay, controller layer is the waiter which will serve you food. Service layer is the kitchen where the food will be prepared, and the repository layer is a fridge or database where ingredients are stored. Okay, so let's begin the today's video. What we are building today? So we will upgrade our previous app. Instead of just showing a welcome message, we will save the user's name to MySQL database and show a list of all saved users on a new page. Okay, so let's begin. First of all, we need to insert two dependencies required for this repository layer and connect MySQL database. So let's insert it. Okay, so we will just come to our start.spring.io. We'll select here Spring Data JPA and we'll select MySQL database. In case you are using MongoDB, then you will select MongoDB. Okay, and here we'll select our dependencies and we'll paste it in our pom.xml and we'll just reload our project. Okay, so everything's fine. Now we just need to configure our MySQL database with our application. So first of all, we will create one schema. I have created one schema named user underscore data. Here you will see there are no tables created right now because I want to show you that with the help of Spring Data JPA, it will create the table automatically. Okay, so here now we will come to our app, and as you guys know, there is a file in our resources folder named application.properties. This file is used to configure everything about our app, so we will use this file to configure our MySQL database with app. So I have just copied my code here. This code you can get it on Google also. Just type MySQL connection configuration in Spring Boot, or you guys can copy it from here also by looking at this. Here you guys need to change the three things. First of all, this only. After the slash, you need to specify your schema name. In my case, my schema name is user underscore data, so I have written it here, and my username is root and my password is sahil@123. So you guys need to change these only. These three lines would be same as it is. So now we will come to our repository layer. We will start coding our repository layer. So remember guys, every time when you are working with repository layer doesn't consist of classes, it consists of interfaces. So we have changed it from class to interface, and as we are using data JPA, so our repository layer would extend with JPA repository. So here extends JPA repository and it will contain user, our model, and it's long. Here we are specifying that JPA repository will only create table for the attributes of user, such as here our model has only name and age, so our table would be created for name, age and ID. Okay, so let us come again to the repository layer. That's all for, because as I told you that JPA repository automatically do everything. So if you want to insert a data or retrieve a data, you don't need to write here or create here any kind of methods. So that's all for the repository layer. Now we will come to our service layer. In service layer, we will just do some changes. Here we first of all we need to use methods of repository layer, so we need to auto wire it. As I told you guys that why auto wiring is used, because we don't need to create the whole object. So we will just create our auto wiring private user repo and we'll auto wire it. Okay, that's it. And now we will just create methods for our applications. We don't need this method, so we will create another one, public. We first of all we will create a method to save our user in our database. So void save user which will take object of user, and we will do it here user repo dot. Here you guys can see there are automatically built-in methods. So we will use save to save it in our database, and here we will pass our object as user. That's it for saving the user in our databases. Okay, now we will create another method to get all the user, or we can say to list all the users. So public list user and get all. We can give any name for it. I'm going with this user, and here we will return, because we want to return and show it on our HTML page. So this method will return user repo dot find all, which will retrieve all the records in our databases and save it. That's all for the service layer. Now we will come to our controller, which will serve all our data in our HTML page. So here first of all, yes, the auto wiring is done. Now we will just change a code little bit, and we'll create one another mapping. We don't need this welcome mapping. We will create one get mapping for slash users to show all the users or list all the users on HTML page. String show users, which will take parameter of model, because we want to send data on our HTML page. Model. Here we can write, first of all we need to fetch the results from our database. So we'll use our method created in our service layer. So user and users, we'll save it in users, and user service dot, what we have named it, let's see, get all users. Okay, get all users, and that's it. It will fetch all the users from the database, and we will send it to our HTML page. So model dot add attribute, and we'll say it's users, name it as users, and we'll pass users to the HTML page, and we'll return our HTML template named user list. We'll create it afterwards. Okay, first of all let's do every code for controller. Now we'll create one post mapping for saving the user. Okay, when we click on a form which says submit, and it takes user information to saving, so for that we will create one post mapping. post mapping for slash save, here public string save user, and we can say it will take user it will fetch the object of user from our form. So as in previous video I have told you guys, for it we will use @model attribute and user and object of it. Okay, that's enough. Now we'll use our methods created in our service layer, which is this save user. So we'll say user service dot save user and user, and here we need to return. So I don't want a specific page for saving it. I just want that it save and return to our specific page. So we will write here redirect colon, and we want that it should redirect to our users page, which will list of all our users. So and done. Okay, yep, everything is done for here. Now we'll just create all our remaining templates. So and we will update our home.html. So here it will use to save the user. So for saving user we have created get mapping at save. So we will write it save, and it will take object of user, and the method would be post. Okay, and here name would be okay dot name dot age button submit. Okay, that's all. If you want you can write it here that placeholder is equal to enter the name, and here placeholder is equal to enter the age. Okay, we need to create one HTML template named user list to list all our users, which will consist of basic HTML, and here we would say saved users. Okay, so I will explain you this code. So here th colon each means we are performing one for each loop for array or list of our users, which will take user for each iteration, and we'll printing it here using th colon text. That's all. Okay, so save it. Now we need to change our code in model. So we need to specify here @entity, because now we are working with data JPA. So we need to specify here entity, because this is our model class, and here we need to specify one ID. So private a long ID, which we need to specify it as ID, which will be of Java persistence class. Okay, and here generated value. So now here is our line generated value strategy is equal to generation dot identity. Here we are specifying that it will be our ID for our user records, and which will generate it automatically. So that's why this annotation is used. And here we need to create getters and setters for our ID. So we'll just create it right now. Getters and setters. Yep, these are generated. Okay, and we need to create constructors also. Okay, yep, that's it. Control S, and now I guess we can check our model. Okay, our application is started. So let's check localhost :8080 slash So here enter the name, so we will enter Sahil, and age would be, enter the age 21 and submit. So yes, it's taken it out to our users, which will list all the users. So here let us see in our database. So you guys can see, let us refresh. You guys can see the table is automatically created by our Spring Data JPA, and we can see it here. See, our record is saved in our database. So if we add another one, suppose Sunita, and age would be 30 and submit. See guys, here it's saved. Okay, let us see how our app is working. Okay, so first of all we will go to our page. When we submit here some data such as and write here age is okay, and click here submit. At the moment we click on submit, it go to our controller, and when we click on controller, save post method is called. Okay, for slash save. Okay, what is it doing? User service, and it's calling a method which is saved in user service, which is named save user, and it's taking parameter as object which we have created while submitting. And let us go in user service. When user service is called, it's calling another method which is named as save, which is a built-in method of a repository, means Spring Data JPA, which is again taking parameter as user for saving it. Okay, when as soon as we click on it, then after saving, it is redirecting us to the users slash users, means it's taking on this page. At this page it's calling us on slash users get mapping, which is fetching our results using user service dot get all users, means it's calling a method in user service which is named get all users. This method is returning find all method, means the find all method from repository will find all the records or fetch all the records and return it. Then it will saved in our list which named as users. Okay, and we are passing it to our HTML template user list, so it's listing here. Okay, and add user repo, it is all the methods are built in. As soon as we insert the data, you can see in command prompt it is showing that what SQL methods are used to do the operations. Okay, and at the end in the HTML templates in user list, here we are creating one for each loop which take list, and in list which consists of objects, and user is used for temporary variable we can say, and by using it we are printing it here. Okay, that's the flow. So right now we have seen what is repository layer, how to use Spring Data JPA, how to save and fetch data from MySQL, and basic CRUD operations of create and read. If this helps you understand how repositories work, give a video thumbs up and subscribe for more beginner friendly Spring Boot tutorials. In the next video we will go deeper into CRUD operations, updating and deleting users. See you soon.